Have you ever wondered what it felt like to be in the middle of the bloodiest battle in human history? Here we are at the start of the siege of Stalingrad, a city of strategic importance in World War II. Stalingrad, named after the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, was a symbol of defiance for the Soviet Union, a beacon of resistance against the invading forces. But why did Adolf Hitler decide to invade this city? The answer lies in its strategic location. Stalingrad was a key transportation hub, standing at the junction of the Volga River and the major railway lines leading to Moscow. By capturing Stalingrad, Hitler hoped to cut off the Soviet Union from its oil fields, crippling its war effort. In the initial stages of the battle, the German forces seemed unstoppable. Their tanks rolled through the city, their troops swarmed the streets, and it seemed as if Stalingrad might fall. But, as we all know, the tide of war is fickle, and Stalingrad was no exception. So, how did the seemingly invincible German forces find themselves on the back foot in Stalingrad? Well, it all began with the Soviets' deployment of a military strategy known as deep battle tactics. This concept, developed in the early 1930s, was rooted in the idea of simultaneous attacks at different depths of the enemy's formation. The Soviets aimed not just to pierce the German front line but to disrupt their command, logistics, and reserves. It was a game-changer, turning the tide in the Soviets' favor. But the German forces weren't just grappling with the Soviets' innovative tactics. They were also up against a force of nature itself, the notorious Russian winter. As the mercury plummeted, the German troops, ill-equipped for such extreme conditions, found themselves in a freezing hell. Tanks froze, rifles jammed, and the health of the soldiers rapidly deteriorated. The winter, unyielding and relentless, became an ally of the Soviets and a formidable foe for the Germans. Then there were the issues with the German supply lines. Stretched thin over vast distances and constantly harassed by Soviet partisans, these supply lines were unable to meet the demands of the German forces. Fuel, ammunition, food, all were in short supply, further weakening the once mighty German war machine. But let's not forget the true heroes of this chapter of history. The Soviet soldiers and the civilian population displayed a level of bravery and resilience that was nothing short of extraordinary. They held their ground, fought tooth and nail, and refused to let their city fall. Their steadfastness and courage were instrumental in halting the German advance. In the face of such adversity, the German forces began to falter. Their initial confidence gradually gave way to desperation. The battle, which they had once believed would be a walk in the park, had turned into a grueling war of attrition. The German forces, once confident of an easy victory, now found themselves in a fight for their very survival. The stage was set for one of the most dramatic turnarounds in military history. As the icy grip of winter took hold, the Soviet forces managed to encircle the German Sixth Army, effectively trapping them in the ruins of what was once the bustling city of Stalingrad. Despite the harsh conditions and dwindling supplies, the German forces refused to surrender, holding out in the hopes of a relief force that never came. The situation became increasingly dire. The city, once a symbol of Soviet resilience, was now a chilling testament to the horrors of war. Amidst the ruins, the Soviet forces closed in, tightening their encirclement with each passing day. The German Sixth Army, once seen as an invincible force, was now on its knees, their fate sealed in the frozen wasteland that was Stalingrad. The final stages of the battle were nothing short of brutal. The German forces, starved and frostbitten, were finally forced to surrender in early February of 1943. The cost of this victory was staggering. The city of Stalingrad was decimated, its buildings reduced to rubble, its people enduring unimaginable suffering. The casualties on both sides were horrific, numbers so vast they're difficult to comprehend. Yet, amidst the devastation, a glimmer of hope emerged. This victory marked a turning point in the Second World War, shifting the balance of power in favor of the Allies. And so, a city reduced to rubble became the turning point of the Second World War. So, what can we learn from the Battle of Stalingrad? This pivotal conflict underscores the strategic importance of Stalingrad, a city whose fate would sway the course of the Second World War. It reminds us of the initial success of the German forces, only to be met with a fierce and unyielding Soviet counteroffensive. It tells the tale of the final, crushing defeat of the German forces. The Battle of Stalingrad, a testament to human resilience and the unpredictability of war, continues to echo through the ages.